Welcome to a moment in Black history with the OneStop podcast and your host, Mika J. Every day is a new day in Black history, and today I want to talk about Sarah Rector. Now, Sarah Rector was born March 3rd, 1902 in Indian Territory in Oklahoma. During that time, Oklahoma was not a state. However, she was a Black citizen of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and after the Civil War, the government wanted to dissolve 90 million acres of land in that area. So they created what's called the Dawes Act in 1887. And what that act did is it actually granted over hundreds and hundreds of Black children land, 160 acres of land to be exact. And Sarah Rector and her siblings were amongst those children that were granted land. Typically, when a former slave is granted land, that land is normally rocky and infertile, and the soil is just normally not worth it. But when I tell you that Maya Angelou wrote Phenomenal Woman about Sarah Rector, you know, the part when she said, I walk like I got oil wells pumping in my living room, she was talking about Sarah, because Sarah literally had oil wells pumping in her backyard, living room, front yard, side yard, whatever you want to call it. She lived on an oil field. Her land was actually located in the middle of Glenpool oil field. Sarah's dad was struggling a little bit to pay his property taxes. So his solution was to lease his daughter's land to a major oil company to help him pay the $30 annual property tax that he owed. About 2 years later, Sarah's fortune took a major turn because an independent oil driller produced what's called a gusher on her land. And that gusher brought in like 105,000 gallons of oil. This helped her earn $300 a day in 1913. That equates to like $7,000 to $8,000 today. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Now, we're not going to sit here and pretend like early 1900s that everything was easy for Sarah. Sarah had to do things like pretend to be white. She even had W.E.B. Du Bois check on her because he was checking in to make sure that at the time the white people wasn't scamming her. And they even went to court to verify that she wasn't even being scammed. She went through a lot of things. She even had to list herself as being a white woman because of her wealth. She just couldn't be a Black woman with that much wealth. They even tried to prevent her from growing her wealth. So in order to list herself without being noticeable, she had to list herself as a white woman when she brought different things like hotels, coffee shops, a bakery, agricultural lands, and she even invested in stocks. And then later she moved her family to Kansas City, Missouri, where she bought a house that's still famously known as the Rector Mansion. That land was only valued at $500, and it turned into a fortune for Sarah Rector and her family. Unfortunately, like many others, during the Great Depression, Sarah lost most of her fortune and had to move out of her mansion. And thank you for listening to the Moment in Black History with the OneStop podcast and your host, Mika J. Stay tuned for more.